Hello, everyone. I think I'm actually live. Don't know how to test this out. I tried to do a YouTube live a little while back, and I had terrible problems with syncing. And my son has now hooked me up, and hopefully, this will work this time. I've got a new setup, and so I'm going to try it out today and see how it goes. I hope you like it. I'm going to be starting off this YouTube Live with a very simple card this week, just so I can get a chance to try out this new setup. And I didn't want to burden myself with a really complicated card with different elements to it. So we'll just start off nice and easy, and hopefully I will ease into it. So be kind to me in your comments, because this really, I didn't even announce this YouTube live in advance because I really wasn't sure how it would turn out. But I am here and I can see your comments. So hello, there is someone here from Michigan. So if you want to let me know where you're from, that would be great. I am in the Boston area, but I'm originally from Canada. So I have been a little bit in the world. We started out in Canada. Now I'm in the U.S. and I have little bits and pieces of me. My parents were German, and so I actually did spend a little time over in Germany as a university student. So I've got little bits and pieces of me everywhere. And today, my husband and son are in Barcelona. So I'm here, and I've got bits and pieces of me all over the world. Um, oh, Roseville, Arkansas. Oh, there's someone from Canada. Hello, Canada. Tell me what province you're from. I'm from British Columbia. I have someone from Ohio. Very cool. Well, today, usually I used to have a series on Monday called Minute Mondays, because I love doing note cards. And the nice thing about note cards is that they're a smaller size than our regular size card, and I find them very easy to do. Some people find them hard to do because they're used to working with different layers and lots of embellishments, but I love the simplicity of note cards, and I love that you can bring them together really easily and quickly. Um, and some more people have joined us. So from Pennsylvania and from Michigan. Awesome. So today's note card, I'm going to be using a new stamp set called Free. Let me see how I bring this into the camera. It's a little bit reversed here, so I'm going to have to get used to that. This is the Free as a Bird stamp set, and it is actually part of a bundle that includes the stitched nested labels. Let me bring that in. And normally when we have a set like this, there's a little bit of light refraction. Bring this over here. Okay. Normally it cuts out the images, but this one is a die that is good for doing layers. And later on this week, I am going to try my hand at doing a 3D with this one. Today we're going to just be using the Free as a Bird stamp set, but I mentioned the supply list in my bundle. And the one thing I wasn't able to set up with my YouTube live today, I wasn't able to set up a link to my broadcast to link directly to my blog. I will figure that out for next time. But if you go to my blog, it's QBeesQuest.com. QBEES and then Quest, QUEST.com. And if you go there, the very first blog post right now is the blog post that I'm doing on this card, and it will have a supply list so that you know what I'm actually talking about. And after this video is over, I will pop in the correct links so you guys can, if you want to, check that out and check the supply list. But on that supply list, I have the bundle, the Free as a Bird bundle, even though I am not using the framelits in my card today. But if you're interested in purchasing it, you might want to think about getting it as a bundle. And the other thing that I love with this. It's actually a suite. It's the, what's it called? Bird Ballot Designer Series paper. And it's very pretty. Let me just show you some of it here. So a lot of it has this beautiful bird pattern, and then we've got some neutral patterns on the back. So each of the papers has kind of a more detailed or illustrated side with kind of more like bird type images, and then we've got like neutrals on the back side, and I will be using that later this week in a card. Is really nice complement to this suite. Okay, I am going to switch cameras, so let's see if this works. Okay, I'm going to show you my work surface right here. Let's click on that. Ooh, isn't that cool how that works? All right, so this is a different camera, and I hope it's not too dark for you. I'll have to see when I look back and see how dark it is. I have my lighting going, but I might need to add extra lighting because it looks a little dark to me right now. So that's something I might need to work on. But today we're going to be creating this little note card right here. And I've been using, this is very simple basic supplies. I'm using note cards and envelopes. I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and then I'm going to be using some Stampin' Blends right here. So that's what I'm going to be using. If you don't like to use Stampin' Blends, you can use whatever coloring tool that you like, but I just wanted to try and keep it simple. And so let's get started. I'm going to move these cards off to the side, and I've got here a note card, and these come pre-cut and pre-scored so that they're just ready to go. And they come in a little package like this, and they've got envelopes in them already, so it's like perfectly ready to go and size. So if you're a beginner stamper, it's perfect for that. So let me pop out the stamps that I need. I need the greeting stamp, and it's right behind my laptop. So right here. So I've got my bird stamp right here, and this is on a, let me see. You do need, for these stamps, you do need a set of blocks to accommodate the different sizes. This is an I block right here. And I'm just inking this up, facing up, because I find it's easier to do that. Okay, and then I'm just going to want to stamp this. I am going to stamp it somewhat close to the bottom, so there's room for my greeting. And I also am, and this might look a little weird, I'm not stamping it right to the edge, but you'll notice on my card, look, it goes right to the edge. Well, on this card right here, my trunk goes right to the edge. So I'm going to show you how I do that in a second. So that's my first stamping. And then my next one, I'm just going to use this little greeting right here and stamp it up here in the corner. So that is all the stamping that I need to do. And then I'm going to bring in my journaling pen, and this is the 0.05 size. And I'm going to add a branch down here. And I like to kind of draw down, so I'm going to turn it towards me. And I'm just going to start here at the flower, and I'm just going to follow along the line of this branch and bring it down. And I'm going to flare it out just a little bit, because as the branch gets closer to the tree, it usually widens. So I'm just going to add that in. And so you can see that looks like the branch, but this branch has little tick marks on it. So I'm just going to add a few little lines onto my tree. And now it looks like the stamp actually extended right to the edge. Sometimes I have a problem with the image floating right in the center. a lot of people don't have that problem, but to me, it's like that branch needs to be stuck onto something, so it needs to go right to the edge. So that's why I decided to lengthen that a little bit. So now all there's left to do is to color. So I'm going to take my light crumb cake and I'm going to just go over the entire surface of the branch. This is really easy to do. I'm using the brush tip and I'm trying to be careful not to go outside the lines, but I might. Now I'm going to use my crumb cake dark and I am just going to hit right here. How's my audio doing? Let me just see. Audio. Okay. I think I'm using my audio from my camera link, so that's good. Because when I tried it the first time without it, with the other one, with my laptop one, it wasn't quite right. So I think I've got it on the correct camera. Okay. So let's keep going. I'm just going to shade the bottom of the branch because that's naturally where you would find shadow because the sun comes from up above. And I'm also going to go over top of these little hash marks a little bit and just darken them a little bit with my darker crumb cake. So there's the branch. Then I'm going to come in and do the leaves. Now, if you're feeling brave, you can use the brush tip or you can use the bullet tip. But I'm going to, for speed's sake, I'm going to use the brush tip. I'm going to have to be a little careful here because the brush tip sometimes is hard to be precise on, and these leaves aren't that big. But sometimes if you're in a rush, the brush tip is like really good because you can hurry along your coloring a little bit. Okay. Let me just check with everyone, make sure I don't have any comments that need to be addressed. Okay. All right. There's one more leaf over here, or a couple more leaves. And this one I think is also a leaf, so I'm just going to add a little green right there. And then I'm going to switch to my Petal Pink Dark, and I'm going to hit all the flowers. Very easy peasy. I'm not going to do any shading with these because they're so small. It's hard to see the shading. So there's that. Now probably the hardest part is the birds, but it's actually not really hard at all. I'm going to take my Pineapple Punch brush tip and I'm going to hit all the bellies of these birds. The nice thing about just hitting the bellies is if you put too much of this Pineapple Punch in the wrong spot, you're going to obliterate it when we come in with our Smoky Slate Light. And I hope I mentioned that this is the light Pineapple Punch because it's just a nice light yellow. I love it. Okay, then you can come in with your Smoky Slate Light and just kind of come along and hit the rest of the bird. And I like to come down and do just a little bit down below. And just hit the edges. So I don't know if these birds actually look like a bird that we know in nature. I know there are yellow birds like goldfinches, but once I finished coloring them, I felt like they looked pretty good with their little yellow bellies. There's probably, I know I looked up goldfinches before I colored these little guys, and of course their coloring is a little bit more complicated, but I wanted to keep this simple so that it wouldn't take forever and a day to finish coloring them. Then I'm just going to come in with my Pineapple Punch and hit the little beaks and make them a little bit darker. Now here's the thing that I really like to do with my Stampin' Blends, especially when there is something that, like a branch like this, that is sticking out. And I'm just going to show you the difference between these two. Let me fold this card out. And you can see maybe hopefully it's light enough. But this one I have shaded the whole outside with Pool Party Light, and this one I haven't. And I hope you can see that when you shade it outside with Pool Party, it pops that whole branch. I think it also really offsets the yellow a little bit. So if you like to do that, you can take your Pool Party Light, and all you need to do, I'm holding the brush tip on the side, is you're just going to come and go around the whole outside of the image. It's easier to kind of turn your piece as you're going along. And this does take a little bit of time, but I think it's worth it. I think it definitely makes that image pop a lot more, especially in person. And you don't want to do the whole card, you just want to do around the image. You'll see this sometimes on other illustrations or paintings, how they just outline the image in the center. So this is like just a really easy shading technique that you can do to make your cards pop and make them look really a little bit more polished and finished. And I'm not doing anything complicated. I'm just using one color to pop this whole image. It works really well, the Pool Party, because you would think of a branch being out, hanging out, and it would be logical for it to have a pool party or a sky colored backdrop. So it actually is quite logical. And I'm going to come around here. Now I can come in, and if there's some little spots on the inside that I missed, like with the leaves, I can come in and do those like in between the birds, underneath the birds. You can fill in a little bit, but I wouldn't fill in too much, just so that it comes around and completely comes around the birds like that. Then all you need to do is just take this, and I like to use my bone folder to fold it, so you just fold it along the score line and then just use your bone folder to smooth down that fold and make it flat. And there is the card. Now when you're using Stampin' Blends, they do bleed through a little bit, so if that bothers you, I don't know if you can see that very well, if that little bit of bleeding through bothers you, to me it's not that noticeable, but if that bothers you, I have a solution for that. So with this card right here, I cut a piece of Whisper White that is a little bit smaller than my note card. So this one would have been 4 3/4 by, I'm trying to think, 3 1/4. So just a 1/4 inch shorter on both sides. And then I just colored on this top layer. My branch doesn't extend all the way to the edge of the note card, it just extends to the edge of the layer. It also kind of adds like a little something to the card. It kind of frames it up a little bit. But if you don't mind having that little bit of bleed through, then I wouldn't worry about doing the extra layer. Or you could also use a different coloring method. You could maybe use watercolor pencils and a blender pen. Or just a blender pen and using your ink pad or an ink refill, and then hopefully it wouldn't bleed through. So I don't mind it that way. So there are 2 ways that you can do that. And that is the little card for today. And it's just really easy. And I love that. The other images in the set, I think you could also create note cards for, and maybe I'll do that at a later date just to show you how you could use this bird and then maybe these flowers and this leaf to create a couple extra note cards. One thing I really love about the set is the greetings. They're very sweet. Like the greeting I used today, your friendship means the world to me. Thanks for being you. There's a little thank you. The world needs more of you. Hello. And we're the best of friends. They're just really nice, sweet greetings. And the images in this set are so cute. Okay, let me switch to my other camera. Hey, that's kind of cool that I can just switch like that. I really need to make sure that I have a way to do my links ahead of time. I'm going to have to figure that out. With every new thing, there's always a learning curve. So I'm glad I have this first one done, and hopefully in the future I will be better at it. Let's see if there's anyone else that has. Does anyone have any questions while I'm here? Just go ahead and type. And I have a team member who says they missed my team meeting last night. I'm sorry you couldn't be there, Joe. It's I have a team meeting once a month on a Sunday evening. I love it when everyone can come, but I know that's kind of an impossibility. We're from all across the US, so I pick a team meeting time that we can meet online. But I hope you can come next month, Joe. All right, let's see. Okay. Someone said that she just did a live with a bird ballad suite. It is such a beautiful suite. I got the things of the suite that I knew I was going to use. I knew I was going to use the stamp set and the dies and the paper, and I left some of the embellishments off because I tend to be more of a paper and die cut girl. So I got the things of the suite that I loved, and these are them. So if you need to get to my blog after this video is over, and once it posts, I'm going to update the description with the correct links so that you can get there. And thanks so much for joining me. I will be doing a Facebook Live over on my Facebook page tomorrow with another card using the Free as the Bird stamp set. So I hope to see you then. And if you can't catch me live, I will be posting it back over on YouTube later. All right, guys, have a great afternoon and take care. Bye-bye. All right, now I need to find the turn off button. So bye, but not quite bye. All right, here we go. There's the finish button. Now bye officially.